You're listening to Don't Miss This on Paris Underground Radio. For more great content, including bonus videos of events in and around Paris, please join us on Patreon. Hello, and welcome back to Don't Miss This, your weekly roundup of the best of what's happening in Paris this week. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm your host, Jennifer Garrity, the creator and founder of the Paris Underground Radio podcast network. This week, we'll start with the controversial and end with the comforting. Travel the world from the US to Algeria to Japan and beyond. Have a couple of late-night artistic evenings. Clothing optional. Delve into the world of photography, dream about the holidays, celebrate K-pop, and so much more. This week's edition of Don't Miss This covers the week of Sunday, November 6th through Saturday, November 12th, 2022. So when I first moved to Paris, I took nearly every walking tour I could find. And one of the most fascinating tours that I took, the one that sticks in my head maybe the best, was this one-off guided tour of a part of the Bois de Vincennes that used to house a colonial exhibition. And it's a part of the Bois de Vincennes that you can't access normally. You have to go outside of Paris to get into it. And this colonial exhibition, it's like a fancy way of saying a zoo, but filled with people who were brought back from the French colonies, places like Africa and Asia. It's hard to imagine this now, but beginning on Monday, November 7th, there's a new exhibit at the Centre Pompidou that can help you along. Décadrage colonial, or colonial deframing, takes us back to the 1930s when this colonial exhibit first opened. And while most people were happy to wander around and ogle the humans on display, there was a group of surrealists who banded together to denounce France's imperialistic policy. The purpose of Décadrage colonial is to explore the tensions and ambivalences of this time, mostly through photographs that were taken of the original exhibition. It explores the, quote, pseudo-scientific fascination for those from elsewhere, the fetishization and eroticization of Black bodies, the participation in and renewal of ethnography, and a contribution to the development of a new image of the nation, end quote. Décadrage colonial will be at the Centre Pompidou from Monday, November 7th through February 27th, 2023, and more information can be found at centrepompidou.fr. That's CENTREPOMPIDOU.fr. Speaking of the power of photography, on Tuesday, November 8th, the Fondation Henri Cartier-Bresson will reopen for Jan Groover Laboratoire des Formes, or Jan Groover Laboratory of Forms. Jan Groover was an American artist who experimented with color photography from the 1970s until her passing in 2012, because she wanted to fight against the 1960s perception that photography wasn't taken seriously. This retrospective, the first since her death, begins with her first series of polyptychs and moves through her lifelong interest in still lifes, portraiture, body parts, abstraction, and documentary photography for magazines like Life. Here, you can see the many techniques she experimented with, like the use of platinum and palladium printing, with vintage prints in color and black and white, as well as Jan's working documents like Polaroids and preparatory notebooks. You'll fully appreciate her influence on contemporary photography. Jan Groover Laboratoire des Formes will be at the Fondation Henri Cartier-Bresson from Tuesday, November 8th through February 12th, 2023, and more information can be found at henricartierbresson.org. That's HenriCartierBresson.org. While Jan Groover is an icon of American photography, Baya is an icon of Algerian painting. And beginning on November 8th, l'Institut du Monde Arabe will showcase her work in a new exhibit called Baya, icône de la peinture algérienne, Femmes en leur jardin, or Women in Their Garden. This retrospective traces the artistic life of Fatma Haddad, better known under the pseudonym Baya, from her first drawing to her gouache to her paintings and sculptures. Despite her difficult childhood, Baya created her own style full of colors, where she, as an emancipated Algerian woman, imagined a beautiful and harmonious world where women lived happily. In fact, women in gardens of Eden surrounded by birds, musical instruments, and other dreamlike elements feature prominently in her work. Baya, icône de la peinture algérienne, Femmes en leur jardin, will be at l'Institut du Monde Arabe from Tuesday, November 8th through March 26th, 2023. More information can be found at imarabe.org. It's less than 2 months to Christmas, so I guess there's no use in holding back any longer. On Wednesday, November 9th, 3 Parisian institutions, Printemps Haussmann, BHV Marais, and La Samaritaine will unveil their Christmas windows. What can you expect from this year's themes? Well, at Printemps, the circus is in the spotlight with 11 showcases and 4 paintings, including tightrope walkers, trapeze artists, acrobats, clowns, an aerial ballet in a hanging garden, and Santa as ringmaster. Inside, you'll find fir branches and a majestic golden tree. As if that weren't enough, Cindy Crawford and Kaya Gerber themselves will be there on November 9th at 5:30 p.m. to cut the ribbon and launch the festivities. Meanwhile, BHV will take us to Provence. They've teamed up with the South region, Provence Tourisme and Marseille Tourisme to highlight Provençal know-how. A thematic and free cinema is also on the program. And over at La Samaritaine, the theme seems to be celebration, with exhibits, musicals, dances, and concerts appearing alongside the window displays. Beginning on the 9th, you can find a Paris opera exhibit with costumes from the most beautiful Paris opera ballets made by Chanel, Rick Owens, Christian Lacroix, and more. An exhibit from the National Dance Center with videos and photographs from the CND's archives, and so much more. For a full lineup, check their website. All 3 stores will unveil their displays on Wednesday, November 9th. For more information about Printemps Haussmann, please visit printemps.com. That's PRINTEMPS.com. For BHV, please visit lebhvmarais.fr, which is lebhvmarais.fr. And for La Samaritaine, please visit dfs.com. If the idea of the Printemps window whet your appetite for the circus, you may want to head over to La Villette, where the Quebec circus artists from Les Sept Doigts de la Main will perform their new show Passagers, or Passengers, beginning on Wednesday, November 9th. This contemporary circus show, so no animals, takes place on an invisible train and combines circus acts, dance, theater, acrobatics, and projections with an original soundtrack. Passagers will be at La Villette from Wednesday, November 9th through December 4th, and more information, including ticketing, can be found at lavillette.com. That's LAVILLETTE.com. We've visited America and Algeria, so how about a hop over to Japan? Before it was named Tokyo in 1868, it used to be known as Edo, and it's Edo we'll visit in a new exhibit at the Maison de la Culture du Japon called Un bestiaire japonais, Vivre avec les animaux à Edo, Tokyo, or a Japanese bestiary living with animals in Edo, Tokyo. Co-organized with the Edo Tokyo Museum, this exhibit will explore the relationship that inhabitants of Edo had with nature, particularly with animals. Cranes, owls, monkeys, foxes, and koi, all these animals have come to symbolize Japan, and you'll discover the connection that these animals had to the lives of the warrior nobility, peasants, and merchants with more than 100 ukiyo prints, paintings, and everyday objects. You'll even see a replica of a pair of screens dating from 1634 with a detailed panorama of Edo, in addition to scenes with the shogun pursuing stags and wild boars and hunting with falcons. There are monkey tamers, stray dogs, plow oxen, and sacred horses. Un bestiaire japonais, Vivre avec les animaux à Edo, Tokyo, will be at the Maison de la Culture du Japon from Wednesday, November 9th through January 21st, 2023. Reservations are recommended. More information can be found at mcjp.fr. If you haven't yet seen the Sam Sazafran Obsession d'un peinture, or Sam Sazafran A Painter's Obsession, at the Musée de l'Orangerie, Wednesday, November 9th is the perfect opportunity. In a curieuse nocturne called Le Vertige de l'Espace, or The Vertigo of Space, you can get to know the work of French painter Sam Sazafran in a unique environment. Sam's paintings and drawings are special for many reasons, not least of which is their attention to detail, which makes them look almost like photographs. And during this curieuse nocturne, you can take a guided tour of his work for an insider's perspective into his craft. And to enhance the ambiance, composer and conductor Oulé Lamour, specializing in contemporary music, will perform in 3 concerts, given in the Salle des Nymphéas, home of Monet's famous water lilies. Le Vertige de l'Espace will be at the Musée de l'Orangerie on Wednesday, November 9th, beginning at 7:30 p.m., and tickets are €12.50. More information, including reservations, can be found at musée-orangerie.fr. That's musee-orangerie.fr. Do you know what this week needs? More photography. Beginning on Thursday, November 10th, Paris Photo will open at the Grand Palais Éphémère. For 4 days, collectors and art lovers, professionals, and the public can explore work from more than 200 exhibitors from more than 20 countries, showcasing the finest in modern photography. This year, Rassi de Palma has been chosen as guest of honor for the art fair. Not only can you explore all these works of art, but you can meet the artists behind the photos with book signings and conversations. You can purchase historic and contemporary works as well as rare and limited editions, attend conferences and guided tours, and follow the Elle vers Paris Photo Trail, which promotes female artists and highlights their contributions to the world of photography. Paris Photo will be at the Grand Palais Éphémère from Thursday, November 10th through Sunday, November 13th, and more information, including ticketing, can be found at parisphoto.com. After America, Algeria, and Japan, shall we head to Bulgaria? Beginning on Thursday, November 10th, the Bulgarian Cultural Institute will present Entre deux mondes, or Between Two Worlds, an exhibit by photographer Ivo Donchev. Ivo Donchev has been taking pictures for National Geographic since 2009. From 2012 to 2017, he became artistic director of the Bulgarian edition. And in January of last year, National Geographic Bulgaria published a story called Entre deux mondes, with Ivo's photographs. This story was about the ancient rites of the Kukuri masquerade, a pagan ritual tradition from Bulgarian lands that takes place at the beginning of each year, with magic dances performed in scary masks and costumes, different for each region, believed to drive away evil spirits and demons. The article was immediately popular and was soon republished in National Geographic editions in Spain, Portugal, Germany, Slovenia, Romania, Poland, Japan, Thailand, Georgia, Russia, and Hungary. In this exhibit, you'll see 40 of Ivo's striking documentary photographs of the Bulgarian Kukuri masquerade. Entre deux mondes will be at l'Institut culturel bulgare de Paris from Thursday, November 10th through December 20th, and is free to attend. The vernissage will be on November 10th at 6:30 p.m. More information can be found at ccbulgaria.com. Have you always dreamed of owning a place in Paris? If you're planning on moving, renting, buying, or selling a place in France, you'll need the expert guidance of Gaëlle Boisclair and Marais Pistinier, hosts of the Paris Estate of Mind podcast. Listen now to Paris Estate of Mind on parisundergroundradio.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be right back with Don't Miss This after a word from our sponsors. And now, back to Don't Miss This. Longtime listeners of the podcast may remember me talking about the Festival des Fiertés last year, when the town hall of the 14th arrondissement decided to throw their very first LGBTQIA+ Pride Festival. Well, it's back again this year, but this year its reach is even farther, extending to the 12th and 13th arrondissements as well. This festival aims to raise public awareness of the fight against discrimination and to honor the culture and diversity of the LGBTQIA+ community. This festival will open on Thursday, November 10th, with an opening event to mark a very special occasion, 40 years of the decriminalization of homosexuality in France. During this inaugural event, you'll find 2 roundtables, one about this decriminalization and one on suburbs, trans identities, and media treatment. LGBTQIA+ artists and activists will also be present, including a collective of drag kings. For all audiences, this festival offers screenings, performances, exhibits, shows, plays, concerts, and literary encounters, as well as creations from 20 artists on building windows and facades across the 3 arrondissements. The Festival des Fiertés will take place from Thursday, November 10th through November 27th, and most events are free to attend. For more information, including the full program, please visit paris.fr. While wandering around your favorite museum, who among us hasn't thought, man, this would be so much more fun if I were naked? Well, November 10th, 11th, and 17th, all your museo nudist desires will come true, because for these 3 nights, the rooms of the Ceci n'est pas un coeur exhibition at the Musée Mayol will be reserved for completely naked visitors. Ceci n'est pas un coeur is an exhibit that I've mentioned before on this podcast that features nearly 40 hyper-realistic sculptures by international artists. The idea behind these naturist nights, which were organized in conjunction with the Association des Naturistes de Paris, is to make the visitors and sculptures look at each other for a disturbing mirror effect. And lest you think Paris is too revolutionary, these naturist nights have already taken place during this exhibit's visits to Liège, Brussels, and Lyon. The naturist visits of Ceci n'est pas un coeur will take place at the Musée Mayol on November 10th, 11th, and 17th at 7:30 p.m., 8:15 p.m., and 9 p.m. More information, including reservations, can be found at museemayol.com. That's museemaillol.com. To help temper the disappointment of having to wear your clothing in public again, head to Pan Piper on Saturday, November 12th for K-Pop Fest Paris, a festival dedicated 100% to Korean pop culture. What can you expect? Well, you'll find treats straight from Korea, fan art contests, a giant raffle, conferences, K-pop concerts, and so much more. You'll also be able to learn about Hallyu at a conference, meet influencers, take parts in quizzes and contests with prizes, get souvenirs, and meet a community of fans. Making an appearance is rapper Black On, who will give a 45-minute showcase, followed by a signing session. K-pop dance cover's biggest collective, Rise Crew, will also take to the stage for a special performance, followed by 5 more K-pop dance cover groups, including Stormy Shot, Horizons, YNS, MSN Crew, and BOG. K-Pop Fest will be at Pan Piper on Saturday, November 12th. More information, including the full lineup, can be found at bonjour-corée.org. That's bonjour-coree.org. What's better than K-pop? Wine? Cheese? Okay, that's two things. But as Saturday, November 12th kicks off Paris Cheese and Wine Week, there's no need to choose. You'll find dozens of events all over Paris and Ile-de-France, with products by cheesemakers and independent producers. Tastings and events will be held in a selection of over 150 restaurants, brasseries, and bistros. Paris Cheese and Wine Week will take place from Saturday, November 12th through Sunday, November 20th, and more information, including the full program, can be found at parischeeseandwineweek.com. Well, that's it for this week's roundup of Don't Miss This. For more great content, including a look behind the scenes, videos from Paris, a book club, and exclusive events, please join me on Patreon at patreon.com/Paris Underground Radio. If you enjoyed this roundup, please tell a friend. If you venture out to any of the events mentioned in this podcast, please let me know and tag Paris Underground Radio on Facebook or Instagram. And if you think you have an event we should know about, please feel free to email me at hello@parisundergroundradio.com with the subject line, Don't Miss This. I'm your host, Jennifer Garrity. You can find me on all socials at Jennyphoria. That's JennyPhoria. Don't Miss This is produced by me for Paris Underground Radio. For more on Don't Miss This and shows like it, please visit parisundergroundradio.com. Thank you so much for listening and happy exploring. Don't Miss This is produced by Jennifer Garrity for Paris Underground Radio. For more on this show and shows like it, please go to parisundergroundradio.com.